The morning air was cold against Hannah's blue skin as she stumbled through the thick forest. Her legs shook with each step. Blood dripped from cuts on her arms where the thorns had torn her clothes. Behind her she could still hear the sounds of the Valeth ships flying away. They had left her here to die. In her arms she held her daughter Nari. The little girl was only 6 years old. Her silver eyes were wide with fear, but she stayed quiet. Nari had learned to be silent when danger was near among their people. Making noise could mean death. Hannah looked down at her child and felt her heart break. Nara's small hands glowed with a soft blue light. This light was the reason they were here, alone and dying in a strange forest. The Valeth Council called it a curse. They said children like Nari were dangerous. They said her gift would destroy their perfect society. Mama, I'm scared, Nari whispered. I know, little star, Hannah said softly. We will be safe soon. But Hannah knew she was lying. They had no food, no water, and no shelter. The Valeth had taken everything from them. Even their clothes were torn and dirty. They had been thrown onto this planet with nothing but each other. Forest around them was unlike anything on their home world. The trees were green instead of purple. The sky above was blue instead of red. Everything here was alien to them, just as they were alien to this place. Hannah remembered the trial 3 days ago. She had stood before the Council of Elders, holding Nari's hand. The old Valeth had looked at them with cold, dark eyes. The child is defective, Elder Koth had said. His voice was like ice. She can feel the emotions of others. This is not natural. This is not the Valeth way. She is just a child. Hannah had begged. Please, give her time. She will learn to control it. No, another elder had said. We have seen what happens when such children grow up. They question our ways. They make others question too. They bring chaos to our order. Hannah had looked around the great hall. Hundreds of Valeths sat watching. None of them spoke for her. None of them cared that she was about to lose everything. The sentence is exile, Elder Koth had announced. You and your child will be taken to a distant world. You will never return. Your names will be erased from our records. You will be as if you never existed. Now, as Hannah walked through the strange forest, those words echoed in her mind. They were nothing now. They had no people, no home, no future. Nara's light grew brighter for a moment, then dimmed. The little girl was getting weaker. Using her gift took energy, and she had not eaten in 2 days. Mama, I can feel something, Nari said quietly. What do you feel, little star? Sadness. Far away, but very deep. Someone is very lonely. Hannah stopped walking. Naris's gift had always been strong, but she had never sensed emotions from so far away before. Maybe being away from other Valeth was making her stronger, or maybe fear was pushing her abilities beyond their normal limits. Can you tell which way? Hannah asked. Nar. I closed her eyes and pointed to the right. That way. The sadness is like a heavy stone in my heart. Hannah looked in that direction. Through the trees, she could see something that looked like cleared land. Maybe it was a farm. Maybe there were people there who could help them. Or maybe they would just find more trouble. But what choice did they have? They would die in this forest if they stayed here. Can you walk a little more, little star? Nari nodded, but Hannah could see how tired she was. The little girl's silver eyes were dim. Her blue skin was pale. She was dying slowly, just as the council had wanted. They walked for what felt like hours. The sun moved across the strange blue sky. Hannah's legs grew weaker with each step. Her vision began to blur. She had not slept in 3 days. She had given all their water to Nari. Finally, they reached the edge of the forest. Beyond the trees was indeed a farm. Hannah could see fields of green plants growing in neat rows. There was a small house made of wood and stone. Smoke came from a chimney. But what made Hannah's heart race with fear was what she saw working in the fields. It was a human dot. She had heard terrible stories about humans all her life. The Valeth said they were violent and cruel. They said humans would kill anyone who was different from them. They said human worlds were full of war and hatred. But as Hannah watched, she saw the human working peacefully in his garden. He was tall and strong, with dark hair and gentle movements. He seemed to care for his plants with great attention. Mama, the sadness is coming from him, Nari whispered. But there's something else too. Something warm underneath the sadness. Hannah felt her legs give out. She fell to her knees at the edge of the forest. Nari tumbled from her arms but caught herself. Mama, Nari cried out. The human in the field looked up at the sound. For a moment he just stared at them. Then he dropped his tools and started running toward them. Hannah tried to get up, but she was too weak. This was the end. The human would probably kill them, or turn them over to authorities who would send them back to the Valeth for execution. But as the human got closer, Hannah saw something in his face that she had never seen before. It was not anger or fear. It was concern. He looked worried about them. Please, Hannah whispered as darkness began to take her. Don't hurt my daughter. The human knelt down beside them. He had kind eyes, Hannah noticed. Very different from the cold stare of the Valeth Council. It's okay, the human said in a gentle voice. You're safe now. Those were the last words Hannah heard before everything went black. But even as consciousness left her, she felt something she had not felt in years. She felt hope. Hannah woke up slowly. Her body felt warm for the first time in days. She was lying on something soft. Clean sheets covered her, and the air smelled of cooking food instead of fear and dirt. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then memory came, rushing back, the exile, the forest, the human who had found them. Panic filled her chest. Where was Nari? Hannah sat up quickly and looked around. She was in a small, simple room. Sunlight came through a window. Next to her bed, on another soft mattress, her daughter slept peacefully. Nara's blue skin had color again. Her breathing was steady and calm. The room was nothing like Valeth homes. There were no cold metal walls or bright white lights. Everything was made of wood and cloth. It felt warm and lived in. Pictures hung on the walls showing farms and animals. Books sat on a small table. Hannah heard footsteps outside the door. She tensed, ready to grab Nari and run, but she was still too weak to stand. The door opened slowly. The human from the field stepped inside. He was carrying a tray with food and water. When he saw that Hannah was awake, he smiled. It was a gentle smile, not the cold expression she was used to from her own people. "Good morning," he said in accented but clear Valeth language. "I am Tay. You are safe here." Hannah stared at him in surprise. He had learned their language, but why would a human do that? "My daughter," Hannah whispered. Her voice was rough from thirst. "She is fine," Tay said, setting the tray on the table. "She woke up a few hours ago. She ate some soup and went back to sleep. She was very tired." Tay poured water into a cup and offered it to Hannah. She hesitated. Among the Valeth, accepting help meant owing a debt. Debts could be used to control people, but she was so thirsty, and Tay's eyes held no demand for payment. They were simply kind. Hannah took the water and drank it slowly. It was the cleanest, coldest water she had ever tasted. "Why are you helping us?" she asked. Tay sat in a chair across from her bed. He thought for a moment before answering. "Because you needed help," he said simply. "That is enough reason." This made no sense to Hannah. Among her people, everything had a reason and a price. Nothing was given freely. "What do you want from us?" she asked. "Nothing," Tay said. "Just get better, both of you." He stood up and moved toward the door. "There is food on the tray. Eat when you are ready. I will be working outside if you need anything." After he left, Hannah looked at the food. There was bread, fruit, and a bowl of warm soup. Her stomach hurt from hunger, but she was afraid. What if the food was poisoned? What if this was some kind of trap? Then Nari stirred and opened her silver eyes. "Mama," the little girl said sleepily. "I am here, little star." Nari sat up and looked around the room. Her eyes were brighter than they had been in days. "The sad man brought us here," she said, "but he is not as sad now. There is happiness mixed with the sadness. He is happy that we are safe. You can feel his emotions." Hannah asked. Nari nodded. "He has a good heart, Mama, very different from our people. His feelings are warmer." This was strange news. Among the Valeth, emotions were controlled and hidden. People did not show their feelings openly, but this human seemed to wear his heart where others could see it. "Are you hungry?" Hannah asked. "Yes, very much." They shared the food that Tay had brought. It was simple but delicious. The bread was soft and warm. The fruit was sweet. The soup tasted like vegetables from a garden, not the processed food they had eaten all their lives. As they ate, Hannah thought about their situation. They were alive, fed, and safe for now. But what would happen next? Would this human turn them in to the authorities? Would he ask them to leave once they were stronger? Later that day, Tay came back to check on them. Nari was awake this time, sitting close to her mother. "How are you feeling?" he asked in his careful Valeth. "Better," Hannah said. "Thank you for the food." Tay smiled at Nari. "And you, little one, are you feeling stronger?" Nari looked at him for a long moment. Then she smiled back. It was the first time Hannah had seen her daughter smile in months. "You are not like what they told us about humans," Nari said in her small voice. "What did they tell you?" Tay asked, sitting down again. "That humans are mean and violent. That you hurt people who are different." Tay's face grew sad. "Some humans are like that, just as some of any people can be cruel, but many of us try to be kind." "You are kind," Nari said with certainty. "I can feel it." Tay looked confused. "Feel it?" Hannah tensed. Should she tell him about Nara's gift? Would he be afraid like the Valeth had been? "She has special abilities," Hannah said carefully. "She can sense what others are feeling." She waited for Tay to show fear or disgust. Instead, his eyes grew wide with wonder. "That is amazing," he said. "What a wonderful gift." Nara's mouth fell open. No one had ever called her abilities wonderful before. "You are not afraid?" Hannah asked. "Why would I be afraid of something so special?" Tay asked. "She can understand people better than anyone else. That is a gift to treasure, not fear." For the first time since the exile began, Hannah felt tears in her eyes. But these were not tears of sadness. They were tears of relief and hope. Maybe, just maybe, they had found something better than what they had lost. 3 weeks had passed since Tay found them at the edge of his farm. Hannah was strong enough now to help with daily tasks. Her cuts had healed, and the fear in her eyes was slowly fading away. Every morning she would wake to the smell of breakfast. Cooking. Tay always made enough food for 3 people. He never asked them to leave. He never asked for payment. He simply treated them like family. This was the hardest thing for Hannah to understand. Among the Valeth family meant blood and duty, but Tay seemed to believe that family could be chosen, not just born. The earth here is different from what I know, Hannah said as she knelt beside Tay in his garden. They were planting seeds for the next season. How so? Tay asked, wiping sweat from his forehead. On my world, we grow plants in controlled environments. Everything is measured and planned. But your plants grow wild and free, yet they are healthier than ours ever were. Tay smiled. Plants are like people. They grow better when they are not forced into boxes. Hannah understood that he was talking about more than just farming. The Valeth had tried to put everyone into boxes, to control every part of their lives, but here, under the open sky, she felt more alive than she ever had before. Mama, look, Nari called from across the garden. Hannah turned to see her daughter standing among the tomato plants. The little girl's hands were glowing with their soft blue light, and everywhere she touched, the plants seemed to grow taller and stronger. How does she do that? Tay asked with wonder in his voice. I do not fully understand it myself, Hannah admitted. She can feel what the plants need. Water, nutrients, sunlight. She can somehow help them get what they need to grow. Tay watched as Nari moved from plant to plant, her small hands bringing life and health wherever she touched. On your world, they called this a curse, he asked. They said it was unnatural, that it would make her question the way things were supposed to be. Maybe that is exactly what they were afraid of, Tay said quietly. That afternoon, a supply truck came down the dirt road to Tay's farm. Hannah felt panic rise in her chest. She grabbed Nari and pulled her toward the house. It is okay, Tay said, calmly. Jin comes every month with supplies. He is a good man. The truck stopped in front of the house. A middle-aged human with gray hair climbed out. He waved to Tay with a friendly smile. How are you doing, Tay? Jin called out. Then he noticed Hannah and Nari standing behind Tay. His eyebrows went up in surprise. Jin, I would like you to meet my cousins, Tay said without hesitation. They came to stay with me for a while. Hannah looked at Tay in shock. He was lying to protect them, but he said it so naturally that Jin just nodded. Nice to meet you, Jin said to them. You are lucky to have Tay. He is the best farmer in this area. They have been helping me with the crops, Tay said. We are having the best harvest I have ever had. This was true. With Nari's help, the plants were growing faster and stronger than ever before. The vegetables were larger and more colorful. Even the fruit trees were producing more than they ever had. After Jin left with his truck full of fresh produce, Hannah confronted Tay. Why did you lie for us? I did not lie, Tay said. You are my family now. That makes you my cousins, in the way that matters most. But we are not human. People will ask questions. This is the frontier, Tay said. People come here to start new lives. No one asks too many questions about the past. That evening they sat together on the porch of the farmhouse. The sun was setting, painting the sky in colors of orange and red. Nari was playing with a wooden toy that Tay had carved for her. She was laughing, a sound that Hannah had rarely heard before the exile. I want to ask you something, Tay said to Hannah as they watched Nari play. What is it? Will you teach me about your farming methods? The way you understand plants and soil. I have been farming all my life, but I feel like I know so little compared to you. Hannah was surprised. You want to learn from me, of course? You know things that could help both our peoples. Knowledge should be shared, not hoarded. This was so different from Valeth thinking. Her people kept their knowledge secret, using it to maintain power over others. But Tay wanted to learn and share freely. I will teach you everything I know, Hannah said. And I will teach you and Nari everything I know about this world, about humans, about our ways. So you can be safe here. Over the following days, they worked together in the garden. Hannah showed Tay how to test soil with simple methods her people had developed. She taught him about plant diseases and how to prevent them without using harsh chemicals. In return, Tay taught them about human customs. He showed them how to blend in with other humans if they ever needed to. He taught them the local language better, helping them lose some of their accents. Most importantly, he taught them that being different was not something to hide or be ashamed of. Every person brings something special to the world, he told Nari one day as she helped the plants grow. Your gift makes the world more beautiful. Never let anyone tell you it is wrong. Nari beamed with pride. For the first time in her life, she felt valuable instead of dangerous. One evening, as they shared dinner together, Nari looked up at Tay with her bright silver eyes. I love you, Papa Tay, she said simply. Tay's eyes filled with tears. I love you too, little star. Hannah felt her heart swell with an emotion she had never experienced before. This was what family was supposed to feel like. Not duty or fear, with love and acceptance. For the first time since the exile, she dared to hope that they might actually have a future worth living. 2 months of peace ended on a Tuesday morning when the sky filled with silver ships. Hannah was in the garden with Nari, teaching her daughter how to help the bean plants climb their poles. The little girl was laughing as she made the vines grow in spirals, her blue hands glowing with gentle light. Then the shadows fell across the farm. Hannah looked up and felt her blood turn to ice. 3 Valeth warships hung in the sky above the human colony. Their hulls gleamed like knives in the sunlight. Mama, Nari said, her laughter dying. I feel something bad coming in. Run to the house, Hannah whispered. Find Tay, tell him they have come for us. But it was too late. A smaller ship separated from the fleet and landed in the field beyond the garden. Valeth soldiers in black armor stepped out, their weapons ready. Tay came running from the barn, his face full of worry. He reached Hannah and Nari just as the soldiers surrounded them. Stand away from the criminals. Human, the lead soldier commanded in rough human language. Tay stepped in front of Hannah and Nari, his arms spread wide to protect them. These are my family, he said firmly. They have done nothing wrong. They are fugitives from Valeth justice, the soldier replied. We have come to take them home for execution. This is their home now, Tay said, and I will not let you take them. The soldier laughed coldly. One human against a squad of Valeth warriors. You are either very brave or very stupid. Both, probably, Tay said with a slight smile. But I am still not moving. More ships arrived throughout the day. By evening, the entire human colony was surrounded. The Valeth commander, a tall figure in silver armor, came to speak with the colonial government. Hannah watched from the farmhouse window as vehicles came and went from the town. Her heart felt heavy with despair. She had brought this trouble to these innocent people. That night, 3 human officials came to the farm. They looked nervous and apologetic. We are sorry, Tay, the colony administrator said, but we cannot fight the Valeth fleet. They have weapons that could destroy our entire settlement. What are you saying? Tay asked. They want the alien woman and her child. If we give them up, the Valeth will leave us alone. And if we do not, the administrator looked uncomfortable. They will take them by force. Many humans could die in the fighting. Tay was quiet for a long moment. Then he looked at Hannah and Nari, who were listening from the doorway. I understand your position, he said finally, but I will not hand over my family to people who want to kill them. Tay, be reasonable, another official said. They are not really your family. They are aliens who brought this trouble to our world. They are my family in every way that matters, Tay replied. And they brought no trouble. Trouble followed them here. After the officials left, Tay sat with Hannah and Nari at the kitchen table. The little girl was trying not to cry, but tears slipped down her blue cheeks. I am sorry, Hannah said. We should leave. We should surrender and save your people. No, Tay said firmly. We do not give up family, ever. But they will kill us, Nari whispered. Not if I can help it, Tay said. He stood up and began moving around the house, gathering items. I was a soldier before I became a farmer. I know a few things about fighting. You cannot fight a whole army, Hannah protested. Maybe not, Tay said, but I can make it very difficult for them. He disappeared into the basement and came back with a box of military equipment, weapons, communication devices, and other things that Hannah did not recognize. I came here to forget about war, Tay said as he checked his weapons. But sometimes war finds you anyway. That night, Tay worked to prepare the farm for battle. He set up barriers and traps around the property. He positioned weapons in strategic locations. He turned his peaceful farm into a fortress. Hannah helped as much as she could, but she felt useless. Her people were scientists and philosophers, not fighters. There is something I must tell you, she said as they worked. The Valeth are not just here for us. They are here because they are afraid. Afraid of what? Tay asked. Of what we represent. Of what Nari represents. If other Valeth see that we can be happy living differently, they might start to question the way things are. Tay nodded. So this is about more than just punishment. Yes, they want to prove that their way is the only way. That anyone who leaves will die. Then we have to prove them wrong, Tay said. As dawn approached, Nari came to them with tears in her eyes. I can feel them, she said. The soldiers, they are angry and scared too. But mostly, they are determined to follow their orders. How many? Tay asked. 40 soldiers. And they are not planning to take us alive. Tay's face grew hard. Then we fight. Papa, Tay, Nari said, using the name she had given him. I am scared. Tay knelt down and took her small hands in his large ones. I am scared too, little star. But sometimes we have to be brave even when we are scared. Sometimes we have to fight. For the people we love. Will we die? She asked. I do not know, Tay said honestly, but I promise you this. Whatever happens, we face it together as a family. Hannah felt tears on her cheeks. She had never known such love existed among her people. Parents protected children out of duty, but Tay was willing to die for them out of pure love. The sun rose over the farm, painting the sky in shades of gold and red. In the distance, they could see the Valeth soldiers preparing for their attack. Are you ready? Tay asked. Hannah looked at her daughter, then at the man who had become their savior. Yes, she said. We are ready. The attack came at sunrise. 40 Valeth soldiers moved across the fields in perfect formation. Their black armor gleamed in the morning light. Their energy weapons hummed with deadly power. They expected to find 1 frightened human and 2 helpless fugitives. Instead, they found a nightmare. Tay had spent the night turning his farm into a maze of traps and barriers. The irrigation ditches became defensive trenches. The grain silos became fortified towers. Every tool and piece of farm equipment became a weapon or obstacle. The first squad of soldiers tried to cross the main field. Hidden pipes burst open, flooding the ground with mud and water. The Valeth, used to fighting on solid ground, slipped and struggled in the thick muck from his position in the barn loft. Tay picked off 3 soldiers with precise shots. His old military training came back to him like riding a bicycle. Every shot counted. Every movement had purpose. But the real surprise came from Nari. The little girl sat with her mother in the farmhouse, her silver eyes closed in concentration. Her hands glowed brighter than they ever had before. But instead of helping plants grow, she was doing something else entirely. "I can feel them all," she whispered to Hannah. "Every soldier. I know where they are going before they do." Through their mental connection, Nari could sense the emotions and intentions of every Valeth warrior. She knew which way they would turn, which building they planned to attack, which weapons they would use. "Papa Tay," she said into the radio. He had given her, "6 soldiers are coming around the back of the house. They want to throw explosives through the kitchen window." Tay's voice crackled back. "Thank you, little star. I see them." Moments later, the soldiers found themselves trapped in a net that had been hidden in the tall grass. Before they could cut themselves free, Tay was there with his weapon ready. "Surrender," he told them calmly. "I do not want to kill you, but I will if I have to." The Valeth soldiers looked at him with shock. They had never seen humans fight like this. They had been told that humans were clumsy and weak, but this one moved like a ghost and fought like a demon. The battle continued for hours. Tay used every trick he had learned in his military days. He moved through tunnels he had dug between the buildings. He used mirrors to confuse the enemies about his position. He turned the farm animals loose to create chaos in the Valeth ranks. But most importantly, he had Nari guiding him. 2 soldiers on the roof of the barn, she would say. 3 more hiding behind the tractor. The commander is angry because nothing is going as planned. With Nari's help, Tay was always one step ahead. He could ambush soldiers who thought they were ambushing him. He could avoid traps that were meant for him. He fought like a man who could see the future. The Valeth commander grew more frustrated with each passing hour. Half of his soldiers were captured or wounded. The human was making fools of them all. "This is impossible," he said to his lieutenant. "One human cannot defeat an entire squad." "Sir," the lieutenant said nervously, "perhaps the human has allies. We cannot see." "What kind of allies?" "The child, sir. Our reports say she has unusual abilities. What if she is helping somehow?" The commander's eyes narrowed. "Then we end this now. Prepare the heavy weapons. We will destroy the entire farm." Inside the farmhouse, Nari suddenly gasped and opened her eyes. "Mama, they are going to destroy everything. They do not care about capturing us anymore. They just want us dead." Hannah felt her heart sink. "Can Papa Tay escape?" "He will not leave us," Nari said with certainty. "I can feel his determination. He would rather die than abandon his family." Outside, they could hear the whine of charging energy weapons. The Valeth were preparing to level the entire farm. But then something unexpected happened. A convoy of vehicles came roaring down the dirt road. Human vehicles, full of human colonists, farmers, shopkeepers, mechanics, teachers, people who had never held a weapon in their lives. Jin, the supply truck driver, led the group. He jumped out of his vehicle with an old hunting rifle in his hands. "We heard the fighting," he called to Tay. "Figured you might need some help." "This is not your fight," Tay called back. "The hell it is not," said Maria the school teacher. "Those aliens are part of our community now. We do not abandon our neighbors." More colonists arrived every few minutes. Word had spread through a settlement that Tay was making a stand. People who barely knew him came to help. People who had never even met Hannah and Nari came to defend them. The Valeth commander stared in disbelief as humans kept arriving. Old men with hunting rifles, young women with farming tools, children too young to fight but old enough to carry supplies. "Sir," his lieutenant said, "if we attack now, we will have to kill dozens of humans. That could bring the Human Federation into this conflict." The commander knew he was right. The Valeth was strong, but they could not fight the entire Human Federation. Such a war would destroy both peoples. "But we cannot leave empty-handed," he said. "The council expects results." Inside the farmhouse, Nari was concentrating harder than she ever had before. The strain of using her abilities for so long was making her weak, but she could sense something changing in the emotions of the Valeth commander. "He is afraid now," she told her mother. "Afraid of what will happen if he kills all these humans. But he is also afraid of going home without us." "What can we do?" Hannah asked. Nari was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled, even though she was exhausted. "I have an idea, Mama, but you have to trust me." The little girl picked up the radio and spoke to Tay. "Papa Tay, can you ask the Valeth commander to come talk? Tell him I want to surrender, but only to him personally." "Absolutely not," Tay said immediately. "Please, Papa Tay, I know what I am doing. Trust me." After a long pause, Tay's voice came back. "I trust you, little star. But if anything goes wrong, I will fight them all." An hour later, the Valeth commander stood in the farmhouse kitchen. He looked uncomfortable, surrounded by the simple human furniture and decorations. Hannah, Nari, and Tay sat across from him at the wooden table. "You wanted to surrender?" the commander asked Nari. Yes, the little girl said. But first I want to show you something. Nari placed her hands on the table. Her blue light began to glow, brighter than ever before. Suddenly, the commander's eyes went wide. For the first time in his life, he could feel emotions the way Nari felt them. He could sense the love between Hannah, Nari, and Tay. He could feel the determination of the human colonists outside. He could feel his own soldiers' fear and confusion. But most shocking of all, he could feel the emptiness inside himself. The cold, empty place where love should have been. This is what you were afraid of, Nari said softly. This is why you wanted to kill me. Because I can show people what they are missing. The commander staggered backward, overwhelmed by emotions. He had never allowed himself to feel. Stop, he whispered. Stop this. I will stop, Nari said. But first, answer me this. Are you happier now, feeling everything, or were you happier when you felt nothing? The commander could not answer. For the first time in his life, he understood what it meant to be truly alive. And that understanding changed everything. The Valeth commander stood in the farmhouse kitchen for a long time, his whole body shaking. The emotions that Nari had awakened in him were overwhelming. Joy, sadness, love, fear, hope, despair. All the feelings his people had taught him to suppress came flooding back at once. I remember now, he whispered. I had a daughter once before the training. Before they taught me to feel nothing, Nari's silver eyes were filled with tears. She would be proud of you for remembering. No, the commander said, his voice breaking. She died because I chose duty over love. I let them take her away for reconditioning when she showed signs of emotion. I never saw her again. Hannah reached across the table and took the commander's armored hand in hers. You can choose differently now. The commander looked at her, then at Tay, then at little Nari. How can you forgive me? I came here to kill you. Because forgiveness is what makes us strong, Tay said simply. Anger and hatred make us weak. Love makes us strong. Outside, the human colonists waited nervously. They could hear voices from inside the farmhouse, but they could not understand what was being said. Some of them gripped their weapons tighter, ready to fight if needed. The Valeth soldiers were equally confused. Their commander had been inside for over an hour. They had not heard sounds of fighting or capture. What was taking so long? Finally, the farmhouse door opened. The commander walked out, followed by Hannah, Nari, and Tay. The commander's face looked different somehow. Softer, more alive. He walked to the center of the yard where both groups could see him. Then he did something that shocked everyone. He removed his helmet and threw it on the ground. I am Commander Zune of the Valeth Military Council, he announced in clear human language. I came here to capture 2 fugitives and bring them back for execution. The human colonists raised their weapons, ready for trouble. But the commander held up his hand. However, he continued, I have discovered that the fugitives are dead. Hannah gasped. Nari looked confused. Tay stepped forward, ready to protect them. They died in the forest before reaching this farm, the commander said loudly. Their bodies were found by local wildlife. There is nothing here for us to take back. He turned to his soldiers. We return to the ships immediately. Our mission is complete. The Valeth lieutenant looked confused. Sir, but they are right there. No, the commander said firmly. Those are humans. I can see that clearly. The fugitives we sought are dead and gone. It took a moment for everyone to understand what was happening. The commander was lying to save them. He was giving them a chance at a new life. Sir, the lieutenant said nervously, the council will want proof. Then we will give them proof, the commander said. He pulled out a small device and recorded himself speaking. Official report. The fugitives Hannah and Nari were found dead. In the wilderness, their bodies were destroyed by local predators. Mission complete. He looked directly at Hannah and Nari as he spoke, making sure they understood that they were officially dead now. They could never go back to being who they were before, but they could live free as someone new, after the Valeth ships disappeared into the sky. The human colonists began to celebrate. They had stood up to an alien military force and won without firing a shot. They had protected their neighbors and proven that humans would not abandon their own. But Tay was quiet and thoughtful. What is wrong? Hannah asked him. I keep thinking about what the commander said, Tay replied. About choosing love over duty. About remembering what matters most. He made the right choice in the end, Nari said. I could feel his heart changing. Yes, but how many others are like him? How many Valeth have forgotten how to feel? How many of your people are suffering under that cold system? Hannah understood what he was thinking. You want to help them, maybe Tay said, someday when Nari is older and stronger. When she can teach others what she taught the commander. That could be dangerous, Hannah warned. The best things usually are, Tay said with a smile. 6 months later, life on the farm had settled into a new rhythm. The story of the Valeth attack had spread throughout the human colonies. Hannah and Nari became famous as the aliens who had found a home among humans. Other aliens began to seek them out, refugees from other worlds who had been cast out by their own people. They came looking for the same acceptance that Hannah and Nari had found. Tay's farm became a haven for the lost and forgotten. He expanded the house to accommodate more people. He taught them all how to grow food and build lives on the frontier. Nari thrived in this environment. Her abilities grew stronger every day, But more importantly, she learned to use them to help others. She could sense when someone was sad or afraid, and she knew exactly what to say to make them feel better. You have created something beautiful. Here, Hannah told Tay one evening as they watched Nari play with children from 6 different worlds. We created it, Tay corrected her. All of us together. The Valeth Council would be horrified if they could see this, Hannah said, gesturing to the mixed group of aliens and humans working together in the garden. Good, Tay said. Sometimes the best way to prove someone wrong is to be happy without them. As the sun set over the farm, painting the sky in brilliant colors, Nari came running over to them. Her silver eyes were bright with excitement. Mama, Papa Tay, look what I can do now. She held out her hands and concentrated. Instead of just making plants grow, she created something new. Flowers of every color began to bloom around her feet. Not just the flowers that belonged to this world, but flowers from her home planet, from the other refugees' worlds, and some that seemed to come from her imagination. I can make them all grow together, she said proudly. Different flowers from different worlds, but they all help each other. Tay knelt down and hugged her tightly. Just like us, little star. Just like us. In the distance, a supply truck was coming down the road. But this time it was not just Jin. Other humans from the colony came regularly now, bringing supplies and staying to help with the work. They had adopted the farm and its unusual family as their own. Do you ever miss your old life? Tay asked Hannah as they prepared to go inside for dinner. Hannah thought about the cold metal walls of her Valeth home. She thought about the fear and silence that had ruled her days. She thought about watching her daughter hide her gifts in shame. Then she looked at the warm wooden house filled with laughter and love. She looked at Nari teaching other children how to help plants grow. She looked at Tay who had given them not just a home, but a family. No, she said with certainty. I do not miss it at all. This is where we belong. That night, as they sat around the dinner table with their extended family of refugees and visitors, Nari made an announcement. I want to send a message to the Valeth commander, she said. The one who saved us. What kind of message? Hannah asked. I want to tell him that we are happy, that we are alive and free and loved. I want him to know that choosing love was the right thing to do. Tay nodded. We can do that. But why is it important to you? Because maybe he is still changing, Nari said with wisdom beyond her years. Maybe other Valeth are changing too. Maybe someday they will want to learn what we have learned here. And what is that? Asked one of the other refugees. Nari smiled, her silver eyes twinkling in the lamplight. That family is not about where you come from. It is about who chooses to love you, and who you choose to love back. Outside, the stars began to appear in the darkening sky. Among them, invisible to the naked eye, Valeth ships continued their patrols of the galaxy. But on one small farm, on one small world, a new kind of family had proven that love was stronger than law, that acceptance was more powerful than tradition, and that sometimes the greatest victories came not from conquest, but from the act of choosing to care for one another. The exile had ended not with a return home, but with the creation of a new and better home. And in that home, under alien stars, hope continued to grow like flowers in a garden tended by many hands and many hearts working as one. The story of the alien mother and child, who found hope with a human farmer, became legend throughout the colonies. But for Hannah, Nari and Tay, it was simply life. Beautiful, messy, complicated, wonderful life. The kind of life worth fighting for. The kind of life worth choosing every single day. And they did choose it, again and again, as the seasons turned, and the years passed and their strange little family grew into something that would change the galaxy, one heart at a time.